This is going to get confusing.
This is about to get confusing.
This might be the subject matter on your show, Bill.
And there's only this. You can say this. This is only in Utica.
Only in Utica.
Only in Utica.
If you want to vote for me, though, you got to remember the E.
If you, yeah.
Is that the official slogan?
So I guess I'd come up with something. By the way, so this is twisted. So you're currently, you've announced that you're running for Common Council president. You're running for re-election.
Yes, going for another term.
And your opponent is Judy Galimo. You are Galime.
Yes.
By the way, your wife is a Jody, right? Is that correct?
My wife is a Jody.
So your wife's name is Jody Galime, and your opponent's name is Judy Galimo. Judy Galimo is also your aunt.
No, it's not my aunt.
Okay.
It was my late cousin's wife. Actually.
Okay.
So her kids are my cousins.
Her kids are your cousins.
Yes. I mean, I consider her my cousin. I always consider her my cousin.
So you're related.
But she's through marriage, yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And so my wife, just to make it more funny, since you're joking around about it, so my wife's name, Jody Galime. She's actually in the Independence Party, so I was joking around with her. I said, I'm going to carry petitions for you so that you can also run against me. That way there'll be a Judy Galimo on the ballot and a Jody Galime.
Let's confuse it completely if we can, yeah.
Well, that's a good strategy because people would say, "Oh, I'll just have to vote for that Michael."
I do have to.
That's where we are.
I do have to ask the question, if I had a cousin who decided, I'm going to start a radio show and I'm going to compete against you. Isn't that fun? I would think that would create a bit of some tension in the family.
Well,
so, I mean,
Phil Keller had a show, didn't he? I think he did.
You might be
well,
right.
I mean, Bill, the reality is when she did announce, it was I was taken back by it.
I can only imagine.
It is politics in Utica, but
I
mean, the only way I could say it is initially when I saw it, it was a little bit of a punch in the gut because, I mean, we're not, it's not like we go to family reunions together, but they're my cousins. I see them at church, and when Michael ran for school board, I supported him. It was a good time. So it's interesting. So basically, here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to run the campaign. Just like I did the first time.
Yeah.
I'm going to run on the issues and the tasks I want to accomplish, and I'm just going to run.
And ignore the fact that someone with almost the identical name as you is running against you.
I mean, the reality of it, though, what's crazy is I can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Because that actually could be quite confusing.
Yeah, it could.
In commercials, in campaign signs, and especially on the ballot.
And filling the bubble
in.
Exactly. On Election Day. Yeah.
So, but that's how I gotta just move forward with it. And take it where it goes, I guess.
So how did your family react to this? I mean, your immediate family, like your mom. And
I called my mom and dad. I said, just so you know, I just saw.
Was there a little like, what the hell? What's going on here?
My dad said, it's my dad actually was, he just figured, it is kind of politics in Utica, But my mom, I had to say, look, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's, Judy is Dan LaBella's sister. So it's not like.
Okay.
It's
just
somebody who's not involved at all. I mean, she's not involved politically. Judy's not involved with government right now. But it's not a surprise to me that people in that family are politically involved. I mean, her son ran for school board. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's just something we got to deal with. It does put it put me in a weird, you're talking about this right now, and I'm getting a little nervous about it just because it's.
I can tell. I've not seen you like this.
Well, I was confidence I could run against anybody because I will run my campaign, which that's what I'm going to do.
But there is still I'm sorry, you cannot ignore the element of confusion.
Yeah,
here.
The element that this brought into it for me initially when that was announced, definitely it took me back a few steps because I had to say, this is a little crazy. I got to run against my cousin's mom. It's her husband. Mike Galimo. Her husband was Mike Galimo.
Right.
That's
It's tricky.
It is what it is. It's
right.
tricky.
Have
So-
you had conversations with her? Have you had a conversation with her since she announced?
Yes, she did. She did call me a few days after, and I talked to her, and she mentioned she always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
She wanted to throw her hat in the ring, and
Did you say something like, couldn't you have run under your maiden name or something?
Well,
that
when
would've
I
been
was
cool.
done, I mean, for me, especially after I supported Michael for school board. If she did run for something else, I most likely would have been supporting her.
And here's the funny
because
thing
it is
too
my
that
cousins
that I find there's a lot of right now, and I'm all for people running for office.
Right.
I think it's good for America,
right?
For people to be for these positions to not go blank. Or people to run unopposed.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think there's a lot of people out there that you got to be, if you're going to run against an incumbent, you got to be at least able to say, here's why I'm running against the incumbent.
Right. Well, so
totally
hang
agree
on though.
with
Let
this
me
point.
back
Hang
up
on.
a second.
Let me make the point.
Let me make a point here. I want to make a very, very interesting point here. We've talked. You brought up the fact that she is. We are related and all that.
Yeah.
But she is a candidate that announced. It is very early, especially with the new election law.
Sure.
That's crazy what the state did with election law.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to treat this just like any other election.
And she's got to get signatures.
No. What I'm getting at is she's a candidate who has not really announced a lot of stuff publicly yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I will. There's a respect between two candidates that still has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a political opponent that will have the chance to do all the things you're just saying.
And it's
only been a couple weeks.
And now we see has a family that is somewhat political, so she's going to have a little.
Right.
She's going to have some.
So
backing.
I wish her the best, just like any other candidate.
Okay.
And the same respect will ensue. That's all there is to it.
All right. You want to add to this?
I think you were about to make a point,
Well,
which I find interesting. It's not like, go ahead.
I just kind of I hear a lot of people saying I'm running. Well, what don't you like about the job that your opponent's doing? Well, no, I think they're doing a decent job. I think that's awesome. I do think it's important if you want to win an election, you've got to be able to differentiate yourself from your opponent and point out where the opponent has gone wrong, which is why the public needs to make a change.
So point blank, when I ran 4 years ago, I was in the music industry, and I was publicly known, but I was politically unknown completely.
Sure.
You were just as surprised as everyone when I started coming on the radio for this. And the reality is, when I ran, I had very direct principles I ran on. I had very direct tasks I wanted to that I wanted to see as my accomplishments, and I acted on them. So I ran, I won the election, and I've done a lot of those things. And that's exactly just that. So.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on the point I think that Bill was making, or at least I kind of thought this is where you're going. It's not like, with all due respect, you're like, someone objects to a vote you made. You're the council president. You run the meetings. It's not like someone's out there, I've got more money for paving, or I'm against this, or I'm fighting term limits, which are all issues that people have brought up. You're a tie-break vote. And was there a controversial tie-break vote that I can't think of?
No. But
you run the meetings.
When I ran, I was not happy
You don't even
with how
vote
the
on
meetings were being
most
run.
legislation.
Okay, that was one of the things. I was not happy with how the meetings were being run.
Right.
I did change
Which is fine.
Which is fine, but I did change that. There are votes on E&A.
Yeah.
Okay. And there haven't been many controversial votes, I would say, in an estimate apportionment, but I've had a lot of due diligence go into those votes, and I would say nothing's really been publicly controversial, but there's been some things that I've done that were good on E&A, I think. But you're right. There hasn't been much.
Right, and as council, and the other thing, too, and we'll talk, and we welcome, I can't wait for Judy to come on, and we'll hear her position on things.
You never know.
But like I was saying, it's not like she can say, I'm going to campaign against term limits, or whatever the case might be. You're a tie-break vote. So,
not to mention, you've been someone who, and I've kind of razzed you for this a little bit, but you oftentimes will sit on the fence a little bit. You try to look at things from both angles.
Well, I like to see process ensue.
That is
but
true.
Your process,
once it's done,
Mike,
though,
yes,
once
we're
it's
aware.
done,
We know all about that. What's
no,
that?
but once something's decided,
sure,
I'm not on the fence. That's the decision.
I get that, but
I want to see decisions happen in a timely fashion. That's the other thing,
Yeah.
So it's not. I'm definitely not on the fence.
Right.
But I want to see accurate, intelligent decisions made, and then see them carried through.
Right.
There's a difference in that.
I get that.
And you are a big process guy. You feel that there's a process that should be followed. We've talked about this several times. And even on the hospital issue, you've come out At times I thought you were against it. Other times I thought you weren't against it. But it all came down to educating the public, I think.
Yes.
Making sure the process was followed. Do you think there's an issue that Judy Galimo has, that might be a key issue? I don't want to have you speak for her, but is there something that oh, yeah, they're going to go after me on this? Anything you can think of?
No, and likewise with her. I think, it'll be an interesting race, to see what happens, see how, what percolates out of it.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to add to this really crazy story?
No, but you're right, though. This is the one, I was prepared for anything.
Are you sure this isn't
over? And this was the one thing that was just oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Only in Utica. I
Never thought it. Never would have thought.
Seriously, never thought of it.
You guys didn't, maybe holiday time, you gave them a sponge cake when you should have actually gotten them a gift or something like that.
No.
That's not what happened. Okay.
No, none of that.
Okay.
That would have been a fruit cake.
A fruit cake, thank you.
Sponge cakes,
Sponge cake is good, man.
You can put
strawberry
juice and
exactly.
drippings. It's
exactly right.
good stuff. There's a
well, maybe that's what it was.
Just
they
juice.
wanted the sponge cake. You got them a fruit cake.
I like little slices of banana on top of that,
too. It did
too.
happen once, which is funny.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
And this used to happen quite a bit to us when Michael was, still alive. We got a Christmas card from a mutual friend, and Jody opened the Christmas card, and it was written in cursive. Christmas time, people write on Christmas card.
Jody is your wife.
Jody's my wife, yeah. So it's on the mantle, and it was a week before Christmas or something. I'm like, Jode, I'm looking at this card. I'm like, we see the Kozas, they used to come see Charlie all the time, but they've never sent us a Christmas card before, and I'm looking at it. And it was to Judy and Michael, not Jody and Michael. They sent it to the wrong address. We had this thing on our mantle. And I had to call up Mike, and I was like, Mike,
that is funny.
Christmas card. And he was like, So I mean, it's always
he said,
been,
keep it.
That is funny. I do have to tell you that Jose says I'm voting for Mike because he's cute. Jose Lopez, of course, from the band Showtime.
He's always had that affinity for me ever since I played with Showtime. Yes,
which you played with Showtime at times. So, all right, Mr. Galimo.
Man,
Galime. I know.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy? It was like I just completely had this.
I knew I wouldn't avoid it on this show. I'll tell you that much.
Crazy. All right, Michael.
No,
thank
so what's
you.
up? So seriously, how you doing?
Good. Me. I'm doing okay. Things are good.
Because it was great to see you when I walked in, and all I could think on the way in was that thank you for publicly talking about it.
Well, I'm going to do a lot of it to the point where people are going to probably get sick of it, but it has to be talked about.
No, it has to be talked about.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought about the last time I was really on the show quite a bit was when Tim Reed was co-hosting.
Right.
And he was publicly talking about it, and that's all I could think about is public awareness of just going to the doctor, getting your checkups, like you've been talking about. It's
what I find interesting is that I'm to the point where I'm just making it to work, and but now people are like, oh, you're back to work, everything's great. Not really.
No, you're working.
I'm doing my darndest to get in here for the show every day. So, I'll give you an idea. Last night, I slept 0. I have never gone through an entire night without sleeping, but last night was that night. I have not slept, and I don't know what it is, if it's the medicine or whatever it is, but it's surgery. So I'm now, today is my 3-week day, and so it's 3 weeks as of today. And there's, I was prior to this, I was bleeding, and that stopped, but there's this giant bunch on the left side of my stomach, and I don't know what that's. So now, of course, I Google. I'm up all night Googling.
You can't Google stuff.
That's an awful thing to do.
With your physician.
Yeah.
Google is
my surgeon's coming in the studio this week, right, Andrew? We're going to talk to Dr. Blancafleur.
Google stuff.
If you want a sleepless night, do what I did last night. Because by the time I got done, I had a reoccurrence of cancer. It happened in just a couple of days, apparently.
You can actually get cancer from Googling stuff.
I believe you can.
Yeah.
Of the thumbprints.
No, but seriously, talk directly to your physician about that, man. Don't.
I know.
Don't make yourself paranoid.
The fact is, though, that it's. The alternative is you didn't get checked, and it spreads to other organs, and now you have to have chemotherapy, and you have to have radiation and all of that stuff in addition. So if you can avoid the surgery, the way to do it is by getting checked. And I used to be so afraid of the colonoscopy. I don't know why. I just didn't. I didn't want to go under. I didn't want any of that stuff.
You know,
and had I not done it,
yes,
had I not done it when I did, it would have spread to other organs. Yeah.
Never known. Well, I'm 30. I just turned 39 a week ago, right? We all are young. Our minds never get old.
If it's in your family, you got to get it done.
I've had one, right? But here's my point. Our minds never grow old.
That's exactly right.
And we don't think we're getting older.
We feel invincible.
Invincible.
Yeah.
And you don't realize, you wake up and you're like, oh, wait. No, you know what? I am 40. I am 50.
Mm-hmm.
Let me. It's no different than your car. You look in the manual. What's the recommended maintenance? 15,000 miles.
A car is a great analogy.
Go get the checkup.
Because in 1992 I had the greatest car in the world, so I thought, and it was a Honda Prelude. And I was like, boy, if I could get that car back, I would be so happy. And then I got the car back and realized it was from 1992.
I always thought the Yugo was your favorite.
Not as awesome as I thought it was compared to new vehicles today. But your body does the same thing as you get older. You know that thing that used to happen when you'd hit the button and the door would automatically, the unlatch would happen? Now it doesn't happen anymore.
It might just happen a little later.
A little later. Maybe something a little premature even. The fact is, your body's getting older and you must. But, we don't have a cure for cancer. The only cure we have today is a real cure, and that is early detection.
Exactly.
So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, I'm glad to see you.
And I will bore the daylights out of people by talking about this.
Rightfully so.
It's awful. Now I'm like seeing people, and I'm like, you've gotten your colonoscopy, right? The number of people that are just like me shocks me that haven't had it done. So get out there and get it done. You are not one of those people. So,
all right, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right.
Galime, Galimo. Galime.
If you want to vote for me, you got to use the E.
Got to use the E. There's a rhyme there.